I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the zoning board meeting of February 5th, 2026. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this regular meeting of the zoning board of the Township of Franklin has been provided. Board members, applicant, professionals, and members of the public, please speak directly into microphones so our recording secretary can properly process minutes. Applicants and professionals, please fill out the sheet on the table when you've completed your testimony. Would you call the roll, please?
Vasim Verdas asked to be excused this evening. Cheryl Bethia?
Here.
Richard Prokanic?
Here.
Alan Rich?
Here.
Gary Rosenthal?
Here.
Robert Shepard?
Here.
Mike Doherty?
Here.
Kunal Lakia? Chairman Thomas?
Here. Regular minutes, December 4th, 12-4, 2025 documents.
Only Kunal can't vote.
I'll move.
Second.
Wait, who said they'll move? I'm sorry.
Gary did.
Oh, Gary. I apologize. I didn't hear that. And then Cheryl, you were second.
Second.
Cheryl Bethia?
Yes.
Richard Prokanic?
Yes.
Alan Rich?
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal?
Yes.
Robert Shepard?
Yes.
Michael Doherty?
Yes.
Chairman Thomas?
Yes. First resolution, Hawthorne Management, LLC, ZBA 21000011, an extension of time.
Cheryl Bethia and Michael Doherty cannot vote.
A motion and a second from anybody?
Moved. Second.
Who was second?
Alan Shepard and Alan.
Richard Prokanic?
Yes.
Alan Rich? Gary Rosenthal?
Yes.
Robert Shepard?
Yes.
Kunal Lakia? Chairman Thomas?
Yes. Houndtown 543, ZBA 250015. This was a resolution of reconsideration.
Michael Doherty and Kunal Lakia cannot vote.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Cheryl Bethia?
Yes.
Richard Prokanic?
Yes.
Alan Rich?
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal?
Yes.
Robert Shepard?
Yes.
Chairman Thomas?
Yes. 655 Ms. LLC, ZBA 2400020.
Cheryl Bethia and Michael Doherty cannot vote.
Moved.
Second.
Richard Prokanic?
Yes.
Alan Rich?
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal?
Yes.
Robert Shepard?
Yes.
Kunal Lakia?
Yes.
Chairman Thomas?
Yes. In the discussion section of the agenda, side data Mandir, ZBA 190037, extension of time. Come on.
Good evening, Chairman and board members. My name is John DeLuca of the law firm Salvo Shock. I'm here representing the applicant Side Data Mandir, Inc. We are requesting an extension of time for the D3 conditional use and C2 variance relief along with preliminary and final site plan approval. This was granted in 2022. It allowed the construction of a 28, almost 29,000 square foot house of worship. Right now, the hiccup is we have to go before the State Historic Commission concerning the right turn lane into the site. So that is the delay, and that's why we're seeking the extension of time through November 24th of 2026.
Okay, any questions?
Is this the house of worship that was, ownership was transferred?
I do not have that information. I can tell you this is the one at 583 Middlebush Road.
No, that's not the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew that somebody would know.
This is the one on the right going south, right?
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions?
This is your first extension, right?
Actually, I don't believe it is. I think this is the second extension, if I'm not mistaken.
There's the one on Middlebush Mark, huh?
Yes.
That's the one that's on.
Yeah, there was previously an extension, one previous extension.
Yeah, so to get to Bob's question, this is the one, as you're going southbound, it was on the right-hand side.
Okay. I have a question for our attorney. Is there any limitation to the number of extensions that an applicant can ask for?
They can ask for.
Brian, can you talk into the mic?
Oh, yeah.
Mike?
There's a limitation on the amount of time, but you can extend more than once.
What is it?
I think 3 times.
Okay, so, all right, I got my,
Any other questions? Any motion?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Cheryl Bethia,
Yes.
Richard Prokanic,
Yes.
Alan Rich.
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal,
Yes.
Robert Shepard,
yes.
Michael Doherty,
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes. 64 Casa Essentia, ZBA 21-00027, again, extension of time. That's yours also?
Yes, it is. Once again, for the sake of the record, John DeLuca of Savile Shock, here for the applicant 64 Casa Enesia LLC. We are seeking an extension of time. This one, the approval expired on September 21st, 2025, so we would be seeking extension through September 21, 2026. This was an approval granted in 2023, where the applicant received preliminary and final site plan approval with D1 and D4 and D5 variances, as well as bulk variance relief. This allowed the construction of a 12-unit townhouse on the site. The site is located at 64 Norma Avenue. There's been back and forth with the engineering department, and my client is close to resolving those engineering issues. I don't anticipate that it will take all the way until September, but given the statutory provision for a 1-year extension, that is what we're seeking.
Okay, any questions?
So this is their first extension?
This, I should have clarified, this is their first extension, yes.
Okay.
Questions or motion?
I move that we grant the applicant an extension of time.
I'll second.
Cheryl Bethia,
Yes.
Richard Prokanic, Alan Rich.
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal,
Yes.
Robert Shepard,
Yes.
Michael Doherty,
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes. Luciato Hardscapes, Fisher Realty, ZBA 22-00018, extension of time again. Go.
Again, John DeLuca with Savile Shock on behalf of the applicant, Luciato Hardscapes LLC. This was an approval granted by the board in February, on February 15th of 2024. It's set to expire on February 15, 2026. So in anticipation of that expiration, we are seeking an extension of time. This approval was for a D1 use variance, allowing the applicant to operate a landscaping business at 221 Bennett's Lane. This is our first extension of time, and we're very close to closing out issues with NJDEP. And once those are resolved, then we should be able to complete resolution compliance and construct.
Okay, again, any questions? A motion and a second.
I move that we grant the applicant an extension of time.
I'll second.
Cheryl Bethia,
Yes.
Richard Prokanic,
Yes.
Alan Rich.
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal,
Yes.
Robert Shepard,
Yes.
Michael Doherty,
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes. Okay,
very
hearings
much.
tonight. Manjit Singh and Ravinder Kaur, ZBA 24-00011. The site plan with use variance and C variances in which the applicant's proposing to convert the existing repair garage into a convenience store, 339 Elizabeth Avenue, Somerset, Block 493.01, Lot 1 in the R10 zone. This application has been withdrawn, and I'm sure I haven't heard any sighs of disappointment with that. Somerset Bible Baptist Church, ZBA 25-00004, C&D variances in which the applicant is asking permission to build a one-story, 35-foot tall, 8,640 square feet gymnasium at 42 Cedar Grove Lane, Somerset, Block 424.02. This is carried to April 2nd, 2026, and this has been more than, I guess, carried more than a couple of times they need to re-notify under our guidelines now. Again, sorry for the pronunciation, Kumaran Velayuchan, ZBA 240002, applicant requesting a relief of condition from the previous approval with regards to the height, which was reported incorrectly, for 21 Highland Avenue, Somerset, Block 194, Lot 20.01 in the R7 zone.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Lawrence Sachs on behalf of the applicant. We are here this evening seeking a relief of condition from an approval which was granted by this board back in 2023. Again, the property owner and applicant, Thiru Kumaran Velayuchan. The property is located at 21 Highland Avenue, Block 194, Lot 20.01. It's located in your R7 zone. Just to give the board a little history, and I don't know if you remember this application, but the application was approved back in April of 2023. This board granted a certificate of nonconformity under Section 68 of the Municipal Land Use Law to utilize this property as a two-family residence. Certain variances were granted at that time for lot area, lot frontage, front yard setback, and impervious coverage. What was determined after the approval, and the resolution was memorialized, I think, in July of 2023, is the architect discovered that there was a discrepancy between the survey, the engineering plans, and the architecturals. And as a result, the height of the building differed from what was approved. What was initially approved was a height of, I believe, 31.9 feet, and in actuality, the height of this building is going to be 33.3 feet. It's still below your 35-foot threshold, which would trigger a height variance. But once we realized that there was this error and a discrepancy between the plans, we also realized that there were some other certain modifications that needed to be made to the plans, which needed to be reflected, obviously, on a new approval. So after consultation with your staff, we decided to come back in front of this board seeking relief from those conditions. So I really have just one witness this evening, Mr. Chairman. That would be my architect. So if I can have him sworn in, he will explain what the discrepancies are, what the changes are. I know you have up on the screen the new plans, and we actually have we'll set up an easel, we have the old plans, and he'll explain what the discrepancy is between the two plans.
Sir, if you can raise your right hand, please.
Yep.
Do you swear or affirm that testimony you're about to give before this board is truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you just state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Yep. Pietro Rosato, Rosato.
Thank you.
Were you the architect last time?
That's correct, yes.
All right, we already approved them as long as your license is still functioning.
Still
and-
active, yes.
Thank you,
Yep.
Mr. Chairman.
Right, go ahead.
Okay, before you start, hello?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Over here.
Yeah.
That's okay. I just want to make sure that I understand what we're talking about here. This is the application to try and establish that this house was in existence and was being used as a two-family house prior to the zoning laws being established.
That's correct.
Okay, good.
And
Go ahead.
Then am I also correct that that's been established, so we don't deal with anything that has to do, okay.
Yeah, we're not seeking any other relief under that. We're not seeking a use variance. Obviously, when the board approved it back in 2023, you essentially said you're grandfathered in based on that particular statute in the municipal.
Okay, then the big question I have is, why are you here?
We're here because we want to go ahead and make modifications to this structure, and we realized we had a discrepancy. Primarily, the discrepancy is with the height. The plans that this board approved indicated a height of 31.9 feet. In actuality, it's a little bit higher, maybe another 1.5 feet. It's still below the 35 foot. Anything above 35 feet would require.
You require, right.
Right, a bulk
Then it would
variance.
make sense that you were here.
Right.
But I guess what you're concerned about is getting your plans rejected.
Correct.
At the
Construction.
construction office.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't match up.
Exactly.
All right.
That's
Yeah,
why
no,
we're here.
good.
Yeah, let me provide just a little bit more clarification, because this is a little bit different than, it wasn't just a certification of pre-existing non-conforming use, because usually when you get those, there aren't any changes to the structure. You know, they just want to basically have their two-family or three-family structure kind of legally recognized as pre-existing to zoning. When they came before you a few years ago, they were doing that, but then they were also doing modifications to the building. And associated with that, there were some existing non-conforming conditions, so there were also some variances. So it was a little bit more complicated than just your garden variety pre-existing non-conforming use. And then as part of that testimony, there was questions, a discussion about the building height. And at that time, it was stated that the building height was going to be the 31 feet. And then that got incorporated as a condition of the board's approval. So that's one of the things that they're here before you tonight.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, good.
right.
Now we know what's going on.
Now you know what's going on. Thank you, thank you. All right, so Pietro, if you can explain, and I know you've got an easel board, so maybe we set up the easel and show what the original plans were.
We actually.
You have 'em on the screen?
We have them both on the
Perfect.
screen,
Then
so
we
we
don't have
can
to do it.
kind of
Okay.
swap them
Even better.
between the old and the new.
Okay, great.
Okay, so, good evening. So the existing building footprint was actually revised to match the latest survey. And the building, where the building width is 24 foot 4, and now we have the existing building footprint area of 821.55. So there was a slight variations once the survey was done of 7 inches wider, in 7 inches wider and 7 inches longer, based on the existing survey of the foundation. Okay, and previously we only did a manual measurement. Okay, and the house, as you guys know, it was a fire occurred in the house, and obviously it's inhabitable, so we couldn't really get the right measurements. But after we got the right survey, we noticed that that was one of the discrepancies. So between the old plan and the new plan, the width and the length of the house changed by 7 inches on both sides. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a few numbers, reference numbers of what changed and how much it changed. Okay. So the footprint area that we have now is 821.55 square feet, whereas the previous ZBA-approved drawings showed 783 square feet. And the area, the proposed area of, or addition, also changed based on these measurements, is now 644 square feet, and the previously approved was 633 square feet. The total building footprint is now 1,465.55 square feet, and whereas the approved, the previously approved ZBA drawings showed 1,416 square feet, and which means that the increase of the building coverage is 49.55 square feet. The front covered porch will remain as approved by ZBA, which is 21 feet wide by 8 foot deep, with a floor area of 168 square feet. That does not change from the approved drawings. The building height, which is what we are talking about, was revised to 33 foot 3 inches, measured from the average grade. And the previously approved building height was 31.9 feet. And also what changed is the slope was revised from the old approved drawings of 5 on 12 to 5.5 on 12. All of the layouts of the basement, first floor, second floor, and attic stay the same. There's a couple of changes just in the attic space. We added a wall, just an additional wall to create some separation of the storage spaces, And this entire attic is going to be a storage space. Okay, we have a 6'5" ceiling height, which makes it inhabitable. Okay, not inhabitable space. And as you can see it in the section there. Okay. So the attic area with a ceiling height of 5 foot or less actually was revised from 44.9% previously approved to 41.06. This change was affected by the roof slope change and the dimensions, width and length of the building. So then the revised engineering plans that were prepared by AWZ Engineering dated July 30, 2025 were revised as follow. The building coverage increased to 19.83% from the ZBA approved on 19.63, which is less than the maximum permitted building coverage of 20%. So there was an increase of 0.2%. The impervious coverage increased to 34.96% from ZBA's submission of 30.74. So there's an increase of 4.22%. This is addressing the resolution condition item 11 and 14 to increase the driveway width for a double car width driveway from 10 feet to approximately 15 feet, which is technically and now we have it at 14.83 feet, and that's what we're proposing, which at 14.83 feet still stays below the 35% max allowed based on the resolution.
All right, so just to put everything into perspective here, because of the discrepancies between the survey and the architectural plans that you plan on submitting, the footprint was listed originally as 1,416 square feet. In actuality, it'll be 1,465.55 square feet. So there's a net increase of 49.55 square feet. Correct?
That's
Okay.
correct.
All right.
That's correct, yeah.
No changes on the covered porch. The building height, again, because of this discrepancy, I think you said 33
Foot 3
3
inches.
inches, not 33.7. All right, so 33.3, whereas the approved plan showed it at 31.9. And as a result of the ceiling height change in the attic, there's a roof slope increase from 23.9 inches to 24 and 4 inches.
No, 23 feet 9 inches.
That's what I'm saying, 23 feet 9 to 24 4.
Foot 4 inches.
Exactly, okay.
That's correct.
All right. And in terms of but because you're increasing the square footage, the footprint by a little less than 50 square feet, that increases the building coverage from 19.63 to 19.83?
Correct.
All right, but again, you're still under the maximum
20%,
permitted.
correct.
All right. The impervious coverage increase is, I guess, triggered as a result of the increase of the width of the driveway to 15 feet, and that was one of the conditions that was imposed when this was approved.
That is correct.
Okay. All right, so did I more or less summarize the changes,
Yes.
Mr. Rosado?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Chairman, we did receive a report from Mr. Healy, and let me just, couple comments in here, and we can agree to what he's recommended here. First of all of the conditions that were imposed in the 2023 resolution would continue over. We have no objection to that. And secondly, and this is the discussion I had with Mr. Healy even prior to submitting this application, or while the application was pending, we will agree that the attic and the basement cannot be used as any living quarters. Certainly, the attic at a 6'5" height, no one's living in an attic at 6'5" height, but we will agree to that condition for the attic and the basement. He's further recommended that we put a deed restriction in, and we're willing to do that as well. So that's not objectionable to us. That's essentially it. I don't have any other testimony to offer, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody have questions? I'm assuming you are completed.
We are.
Is there any, would the gentleman in the public wish to ask any questions or make a comment on this application? No? Then we'll close that part of it, and I'm assuming you don't need your whole testimony is almost like a summary of a conclusion.
Yeah, I don't need to make any closing summation, Mr. Chairman.
Any board discussion or motion or questions?
So, Mr. Chairman, I think what it boils down to, and thank you for that detailed summary or presentation. I think even with these changes, basically what it boils down to as far as the change, the architect showed some relatively minor changes to the building architecture than what you saw previously. It's basically the same building, but a little bit different roof pitch. And then there was that clarification on the building height that was, again, a specific condition of the board's approval. That's really the main change, is going from the specification of the 31.9 to the 33, whatever, whatever that was
33.
testified. I think that's really the main change. That's the subject before you tonight. And that basically all the other changes stay within the parameters that you previously approved.
Okay, thank you. Again, any questions, comments? We're ready for a motion.
I move that we grant Thuruk Kamaran Valudihan relief of the conditions set forth in our previous resolution for Block 194, Lot 20.01, and updating that previous resolution to include, where necessary, the changes in the measurements and appearance of the building that are discussed by the applicant tonight.
I guess specifically mentioning, including the deed restriction.
Yes.
Yes, let's include there'll be a deed restriction added into the deed in which the applicant and any future owners of the property will not use the basement or the attic as a living space.
And we need a second.
Second.
Cheryl Bethia,
Yes.
Richard Prokanic.
Yes.
Alan Rich.
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal.
Yes.
Robert Shepard.
Yes.
Michael Doherty.
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes. Okay.
Larry,
good-
can you
good
just
luck
make sure
finally
that
with-
the architect's name and everything
I'll
is
put
on the
that in there.
paper?
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Thank you.
Okay, Wash King Somerset LLC, ZBA 250025, sign variance in which the applicant intends to put a freestanding sign at 1463 Route 27, Somerset, Block 85, Lot 39.01.
Please bear with me while I set up for a minute.
Hey, John, when Larry's done putting the name of his professional, you can just write right under there. I can
Okay.
put a line for Kathy to see.
You got it.
Thank you.
I'm just going to pass out a couple of extra exhibits before we begin.
Thank you.
It's actually 1, 2, and 3. A 1, 2, and 3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How old school.
I know. I like the paper. I'm going to display it, but not see. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Thank you very much for your patience, board members. Again, my name is John DeLuca. I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant Wash King Somerset Opco LLC. This is application number ZB 25-00025. We're here tonight for a freestanding sign setback variance. So the only relief we are seeking tonight is the location of a sign because it deviates from the setback requirement for the applicable zone. The property is located at 1463 Route 27. That's Lincoln Highway. It's also designated as Block 85, Lot 39.01 on the official tax maps. This is the GB, or General Business Zone, where auto spas or car washes are a permitted use. So existing conditions, this site is already developed with the car wash. It's already operating. However, the proposal is to install a freestanding sign as depicted here, and my witnesses will describe these more, but this will be the sign. And the reason for the relief is the applicant is requesting to position the sign at 8.75 feet off of the front boundary line where 20 feet is required. The reason for this is that the applicant applied for and was issued a permit, they constructed the sign, and then when they went out and did field marking, they realized that a sewer easement conflicted with where they were going to put it in. So the original permitted location is not feasible, can't be put there, and then any other location that would be in compliance with the 20-foot setback standard just doesn't have any visibility, so it wouldn't be functional, and it wouldn't signal any passerbys that this is the car wash that you're looking for, Wash King Car Wash. So the sign is already fully fabricated, and it's based on that previously issued permit, and this application, again, is strictly for relocating that sign to be within the required setback. I will have two witnesses tonight. One is...
Wait. You don't want it to be within required setback. You want it to be somewhere other than within that space, right?
Well, yes, so I'm gonna breach the setback and go into where I'm not allowed to go.
Right, okay.
Yes, yes.
I thought you said something different. Never mind.
I might have worded it in a way that was subject to interpretation, so thank you for clarifying. So I do have two witnesses tonight. One is the business owner and operator, and the second is the sign designer and manufacturer. I'll ask that, I'll also just note for the sake of the record that this application has been duly noticed by publication in the newspaper and serving certified notices on property owners within 200 feet. Unless the board has any housekeeping matters or legal questions for me, I'd ask that my first witness be sworn in to testify.
Anybody? You're on, or do you?
Sir, who's testifying? Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that testimony you're about to give before this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you state your name and spell your last name for record, please?
My name is Navi Parmar. My last name is spelled P-A-R-M-A-R.
Thank you.
So, Navi, what can you tell us about your operations generally?
Yep. So we opened up Wash King Car Wash about 5.5 months ago. It's an express car wash. The community is able to come in and wash their cars as many times as they want a month. We have free vacuums for the community to use. We give out free amenities for the community to use as well. It's open 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day, 7 days a week, and that's about it.
Okay. So you're currently operating now, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, and do you have any signs up at this time?
We do not.
Okay. Now, you did have some signs to announce your opening. Those have been taken down, correct?
Correct.
All right, so I just want to draw the board's attention. I was intending to mark this as A3, so I'm going a little bit out of order for my own intention here, but I just want to note that it was marked in the technical review committee report that there were some signs. If you look at the review report, that was on, I think the final page, page 6 depicts them, and then they're also depicted on page 3. So all of those signs have been taken down. Those were temporary, just announcing the opening of the signs. These pillars are still here, so if you see those pictures, the ground's frozen, can't get them out of the ground. When the ground thaws, those will be removed. The only sign that will be freestanding and marking the location of the property will be the proposed sign. So with that in mind, Navi, if you could take my cursor and just kind of hover on this map, approximately where the sign will be.
I should defer this to Clint,
Well,
but
you can actually just look right here. Let me get you a better view here.
May help if you zoom in.
Yeah,
That's fair.
do that.
so if you're looking right there, where that corner is,
Yep.
where the easement corner.
And I should state, for the sake of the record, this is a map of survey that was provided with the application. I don't know why this is here.
So zoom in a little bit more.
Let me do this. All right, it's not cooperating.
Yep, and scroll down. So it's going to be right in that little corner right there.
right
Just
in that area there.
Okay.
Right, yeah, right there.
So, and if you look at this map, Navi, you see this dark, thick, dark black line. That's your boundary line, correct?
Yep,
So bumped out from the boundary line, a number of feet is actually the curb line, correct?
correct.
So although we're proposing to put this at 8.75 feet away from your boundary line, it's still going to be set back a decent amount from the curb.
Correct.
Okay.
How much is a decent amount?
So if we're adding 8.75 to the setback here, again, I'm going a little bit out of order. Clint, by
Are
any
you
chance, you have
talking
a
about
measure?
from the curb itself or from the?
From the curb.
Yeah, you're looking from the curb right there.
Can we
is-
swear
Yeah,
Clint into testify?
yeah.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this board is truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And state your name and spell your last name.
Ehlers, Ehlers.
Thank you.
I know from I didn't measure from the corner where the curve's right there, but if on the straight side of New Jersey 27 back to the setback line, to the beginning of the easement is 13 feet. So from the corner, because it's wider, I would imagine it's close to 20 feet to the beginning of the easement. And then you have another 8.5 feet to where we're putting the pole. Or to the edge, of the light box, which is the widest part of the sign. Our goal is to put the pole out of the easement right in that corner. Our engineers say because of the, and I'm getting ahead, I apologize, but because of the retaining wall that's there, we need to be at least 7, 8, 9 feet away from that so as not to mess with the construction of the retaining wall itself.
So just getting back to Navi's testimony, now, do you operate any other car washes?
I do. So I operate 2 car washes in Vineland, New Jersey, 1 car wash in Landisville, New Jersey, 1 car wash in Bridgeton, New Jersey, 1 car wash in Pennsville, New Jersey. We have recently acquired 1 in Cherry Hill as well. I do want to point out that this sign we are proposing is industry standard. It's meant to be something attractive and appealing to the community. It's nothing that is flashing, nothing that is digital, nothing that is distracting. It's just a nice sign that goes along with our branding. It's also a sign that we have spent substantial amount of money building when we were granted our permit. But unfortunately, the sign's been in storage for the last 5.5 months as we, awaited to being with the board today. As of right now, for the last 5.5 months, we've been trying to grow our business without a freestanding sign. It's been very difficult as there is nothing on the building that helps the community identify we're an existing car wash and that we're open. It also serves as a safe way for ingress for our motorists to come onto our property, but also allows us to, again, be present and compete and help recoup the significant investment we've made on this property as well.
So I'm going to ask you a little bit about the.
Wait, I'm not sure I understand what this sign looks like. I have all these exhibit things. I guess this is A1, maybe? And then we got another one, nearby sign photo exhibit, and another one, temporary signs removed photo exhibit. But I looked through, for example, this first one, and I got like shooting
Yep.
things of water, and then, but I got no language there. Then I go further down, and I have this sign, which looks like a standard sign, and this is not an insult to you, sir, but it doesn't look like you spent a lot of money on this sign. It just looks like a sign.
So
Allow me to eliminate some of the mystery.
And then there's this.
Yep.
And so, what does this sign look like?
Yep.
I'm not getting it.
So we actually,
So we're looking at an exhibit that was submitted with the application, so that's why I didn't
So
pass
the
out.
exhibit that the commissioner was referring to, was that submitted as part of the application?
No,
Were you-
so
the handout?
everything I handed out was not submitted as part of the
All right,
application.
so
That's
we
why
should
I'm
mark
providing
that
them
as
now.
A1.
Yeah. So I would request that, as labeled, it's applicant's new sign photo exhibit. I would ask that that be A1.
Okay.
Nearby sign photo exhibit, I would ask that that be A2. And then temporary signs be A3. And that clears up the marking and identification of our exhibits. And to address Mr. Shepard's question, I will zoom in. This is exactly what the sign will look like. And Clint, if you wouldn't mind just describing the dimensions of the sign and some of the other features that might not be immediately obvious just by looking at the exhibit.
Yep, so the sign overall is 20 feet high from the ground level. It is made up of 3 different light box type sections. The top part is the lion, which is their logo.
1 second. Is he being picked up without a mic?
Oh, I'm sorry. Got it. I'll start over. So the overall sign height is 20 feet. The sign is made up of 3 different light box sections. The first section, the top section, is their logo. It's the lion on top of the car. That is 65 inches wide and 78.5 inches tall, which equates to 35.43 square feet. The light box, the center box, which is made up of, has a divider bar, so if they ever change their pricing, it's an easy switch out. That is 4 feet by 98 inches. That makes up 27.9 square feet. And then we have the water feature, which is part of their branding. All their signs that we put together have this water feature on it, which is they're known for. That is 109 inches tall, and at its widest point at the top is 47 inches, and that equates to 35.58 square feet, which is the total of the sign would be 98.91 square feet, which is under the 100 square feet, which is allowable.
And just to,
Back me up with that last thing, what you said.
The code says that 100 square feet of signage that you can have, so all 3 elements add up to the 98.91 square feet.
Okay, but does it, what is the variance? Will look just the location?
Just the location.
So in other words, I was kind of shocked to hear, again, tell me what's the height of this thing?
20 feet.
20 feet, and that falls within what you're allowed to do?
That falls within the code for that area. yes,
Okay,
sir.
and that probably has something to do with the nearby signs photo exhibit, doesn't it? Okay.
very.
I'll wait to
Mr.
hear
Shepard.
about that.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it's important to keep in mind where in the township we're talking about. This is on Route 27. So I think that's a fair segue. You're hearing that, oh, wow, this is a big sign. It's 20 feet. That is allowed in the zone. The area of the sign is allowed in the zone. And I want to give you an idea of what the character of this zone looks like. So I am referring now to what I have marked or requested to be marked as A2. And Navi, correct me if I'm wrong. These were pictures that you took a couple days ago around 10 p.m. Is that right?
So, correct. These were taken between 10 and 11 p.m. the other night. along that area there.
Okay, so this is right up the road, a little bit northbound from the subject site. And if we scroll through, you're going to see a number of signs of varying heights. I would presume, I can't say that they all comply with the code, but they all are illuminated. They all are close to the right of way. I mean, this is a sign that is outside of a retail plaza. I can't say for sure how tall that is, but I would estimate that our sign is not going to be larger than that or appear larger than that.
Can you say relatively for sure that there's a number of them that would be violating the setback,
It depends on.
or any?
It's hard to determine because it's hard to determine exactly where their property line is in relation to the curb.
Yeah,
But
I
they
know,
certainly
it's not
do
gonna
appear
be-
to be, relatively close to the front of the edge of the property.
All right.
What's the big cross street here? Is it Veronica?
Sinclair,
Somerset, is it, what's Sinclair? Yeah.
Sinclair Boulevard.
Okay, so that's even further down toward New Brunswick than Veronica.
Yeah, this is an intersection just before, like the turn onto Bennett's Lane. It's before that. If you go a little bit further down, you're going to see, like the, trying to think of what gas station is right there.
There's a Wawa
Yeah,
about less than half a mile away from us.
Toward-
Before Veronica.
Toward Cousins
Yeah, okay.
Lane.
It's way before Veronica.
Right.
After Wells Fargo.
Well, it's
Okay.
after Wells Fargo.
If you know where the Jiffy Lube is, it's just a
Yeah.
couple spots down from the Jiffy Lube.
Yep, you can actually see the Jiffy Lube from our property.
Yeah, it's a stone's throw.
Thanks.
So, with that in mind, I really don't have further questions for my witnesses. I think we've covered everything. Obviously, we're open to and fielding the board's questions if there's any
All right,
more
I have a
questions.
question for our attorney, and I'm asking this so we cover all the bases. Is it necessary to have a planner?
I don't believe so for this application, for the type of application that it is.
That's all I'm asking of it.
Yeah, and if I may respond, obviously, I would listen to your attorney's advice, but this isn't a D variance, it's a C variance. It is a bulk variance. We are seeking it under the C2 standard.
It's okay with me, I just don't want you to have to come back
I-
because somebody said we did something wrong and.
I appreciate it. Listen, I don't have a professional planning license, but I think the benefits are that this sign will signal to the public what the use is at this site. Based on the nature of the corridor, I really don't see detriments. But again, I'm just an attorney who handles these, but it is fitting in with the nature of this commercial general business zone.
All right, any board questions before we go public?
Yeah, I have one. Relative to the overhead wires, how close is it, and what setbacks are required to those overhead wires?
I don't know what the setback requirements are for the wires, and looking out there, and we have not had our bucket trucks to go up and measure, those wires appear at least probably 5 feet higher, 6 feet higher than where we're at. And plus, we should be just back from that. There's one, all the wires are closer to the road. There's one wire that goes by itself diagonally
Yeah.
over to another pole, and that's the only one where we should be steered away from. a little
The problem is, it feels like it's some sort of transmission line. So the utility companies need to be able to access those wires, and I don't know what it is, but I'm fairly certain there is a type of setback associated with that, like a blanket easement of sorts. And relative to that, or relative to anything, where are you proposing the sign other than within the setback?
What are the other options? Is that what you're saying?
No, like where though? Like
So
we-
this is a.
This was the same question I asked at the beginning.
Yeah.
Where's this thing going to go?
I'm showing an exhibit. This is an approximation. So
But it's an approximation. Like, so if we were to write a resolution, the variance would be granted to put a sign X amount of feet from the property line where 20 is required. So what is that X amount of feet?
it's 8.75.
Okay. And
And-
where
and-
is
and-
that? I just didn't see it, so I apologize.
No problem. So again, I'm when I say approximation, I'm talking about the image.
Sure. Yeah.
And not where we're seeking relief for. You know, we're not saying, hey, in this area and anywhere in that area. So you'll see on our exhibits a precise location. So for the resolution, I would anticipate it would hold us to our testimony and exhibits that we would have to position it right here, 8.75 feet off of the boundary line.
Isn't there a plan that shows it over the survey?
Yeah. Yes. You should have that in the application, the drawings for the permits. You should.
And the plan shows the precise look.
It's on this survey?
No, it's on the drawings that you showed the sign. It'll be the last page. There's 3 pages to that PDF. So it should be the next page.
My apologies.
Does the plan show the precise location of the
That shows
sign?
9.2. We redid the math, and that's where we came up with 8.75.
Yeah, I think the 9.2 is based on the base of the sign, and the 8.75 is based on that wider overhang at the top.
So the yellowish, orangish striping, is that the easement?
That's the sewer easement.
It's overhanging the sewer easement.
Yes. That's what we need relief from.
Well, we don't have the ability to grant relief from a sign hanging over an easement. That wouldn't be between the easement holder and your attorney. I guess my question or point or whatever it is you have this easement, and it's a ground easement to some extent, but there needs to be clearance so that if something happens and the DPW needs to get in there and access that pipe, they can't be, your sign can't overhang that. And then there was also a comment about the setback to the wall for whatever, the structural integrity of the wall or whatever. But what is that?
What is the wall? What's the structural integrity?
Yeah, well,
So-
the setback that you had mentioned.
What is the distance, I guess?
The
is question,
engineer,
right?
the engineer request has to be at least 7 to 8 feet back from that.
And how far are you?
We are about 9 feet. Either way we do it, it's going to be a corner of the sign hanging over that. But if you look at that dotted line is the sewer pipe. The black dotted line, the black dot is the manhole cover, I believe.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the S and the line are typically indicative.
So we're not.
The
we're-
dotted
we're-
S,
We're a
the
number
gray-
of feet
gray
away
dotted
from
S.
any digging that has to go if they have to get into that pipe at that exact location.
Yeah, but it doesn't really necessarily matter where within that easement the sewer is located. The rights to that land have been given to another party.
But there, as you mentioned, it is a ground easement, so that the base will not encroach into the easement. That's why this location.
So
was-
I didn't say that with any certainty because I don't know. Obviously, they have to excavate down where the pipe would be. I guess I'm asking, are you certain that having that sign overhang into the easement is an acceptable condition of that easement?
We are, and that's why we're seeking the variance. That's why we chose this location and cleared it, because the initial location where we sought the permit was within the easement. So this was the solution to that problem.
So what was the approved setback from the property line previously?
When we applied for the permit initially, we submitted our application with measurements on the overhead map, and those were all approved. When we got the time, when we went out there to mark after got the permits, we went out there to mark for dig 11.
Yeah, sure.
And then I saw a manhole cover. And I didn't know if the pipes went this way or if they went perpendicular. So then we went back down to the township. They referred me to the sewer authority who sent me this map, is which, and we found out that there is an easement there.
But was this sign ever approved previously?
Yes,
Who approved it?
the zoning and the board and the building.
So there's a
We got our
resol-
building permits based on the prior location where it was going to be at, which
the
was
sign. The sign was previously approved for a variance.
Not a,
for
not a
variance.
variance, not a variance. It was,
We didn't, when we applied for the permit initially, we did not know about the sewer easement.
so we didn't require
Yeah,
a
but
variance.
just respectfully, we're talking about two different things here. I'm not asking about the sewer easement right now. I'm just saying the previously approved location of this sign. Did you receive approval for this sign specifically in a certain location?
Yes.
And that was closer than your 9 feet 2 inches?
Yes, it was in the sewer easement.
Okay, so there was a variance granted for that.
Well, let me explain. There wasn't a variance granted.
Right, no.
What, the zoning permit should not have been granted, but the information that was presented was not drawn on a copy of the survey with the property, with the property line shown. What was presented was a location shown on an aerial photograph, and the 20-foot required setback was measured from the curb. So our zoning officer erroneously approved it. So that's the history, maybe a lesson on part of our zoning officer that he should not have approved it in that way. And frankly, it probably was in the right-of-way of Route 27, let alone within the sewer easement. So that's why we're here.
Okay. So, I mean, that all makes sense. Thanks, Mark. I mean, what about, like, line of sight? Has that been looked at? Is this, because it's not just like a pylon sign where it's a pole and then it just expands out. There's shape, there's body to it. Has that been looked at? Because that is, I guess, a controlled intersection, right? There's a light there?
So I will say, we don't have a traffic engineer, a traffic expert, but if you look at the,
I don't know what your site triangle requirements are for this particular area, but.
Well, it would be the DOT because it's a DOT roadway.
Right. But I believe that we are at least 35, 40 feet from Sinclair back, and then we're far enough back from the 27 as well.
Yeah, but what a sight line triangle establishes is if in the one picture you can see there's like a left turn only lane on the 27. If a car is stopped there, that they can see appropriately in both directions before coming on to 27.
Yes. From where that sign is placed, yes. There's landscaping that's in front of that.
and
And the width of the sign, at the bottom where that thing is like 18, 20 inches. It gets bigger, obviously, at the top, which is above the sight line. I understand what you're saying.
Well, at what elevation is the sight line?
Well, I mean, being out there, I know that Sinclair kind of drives up to it, so you're at a little bit of an angle.
I think the sign's a great idea. I think it looks great. It's very cool looking. It's pretty big, but it's cool looking. I just don't think you guys have demonstrated the requirements that were outlined in the TRC in terms of the proofs for the C. I guess we were doing C2 for hardship. Our council said that it's okay, but we still don't. You don't know how close you are allowed to put it to the overhead wires. I'm not sure if anyone else has a level of comfort that the sign can overhang into the easement, and the setback to the wall is.
we would accept it as a condition of approval to clear it with the sewer authority. If the board were to act favorably before we install the sign, and if we need to clear it with them, we could.
I was going to ask you if you had any conversations with the sewage authority before coming in. It probably would have been helpful to know where they are in terms of what they require, clearance above an easement area, you know?
And I have a question possibly for Mark, because if I just look across the road, that strip mall that is there, of course not this sign, but they have another big sign out there, and it seems to be very similarly placed as this.
It's actually closer to the road.
So, and it seems to be from the pictures, okay, I've gone down that road multiple times, and it seems to be right under the wires and all of that conditions. So, Do we know any background on those signs, or?
Well, I don't, because those are in North Brunswick.
Is this the utility line?
But again, they showed the different signs. I'm not quite sure the Franklin regulates signs by use. So, to the degree that there's signs in here for office buildings, well, those are permitted to be 10 foot from the property line, but they can only be 10 foot high. Retail's allowed to go up to 20, but they need to be 20 feet high. So, I'm not quite sure what these signs at other establishments address. I mean, here, in my opinion, the issue here is they need a setback variance. I think maybe we're sidetracked looking at other signs on other properties. I don't know how germane that is to this particular application. This is this sign on this property, and they're addressing this as a hardship. That's their testimony. So
Correct.
why is that? So I think they need to prove to you why they can't put a sign that's complying with the 20-foot setback from the property line. I mean, that's basically the case, right?
So any compliant location would not be a useful sign. You'd be putting it in the corner of the property, or it would not be visible. It wouldn't be near an entrance. You'd be driving down the road. You wouldn't even see the sign. So, could it be installed in another location? Yes, but then it would be a pointless sign. So the reason we're seeking it in this location is it would be functional. I think it's worth noting that there is no electric utility easement on the property line, so it's those power lines are not going to encumber.
The power line actually is marked, that solid line that goes to the
Yeah.
white area, that's the location of the power lines.
Yeah.
It
So
starts at the
so
bottom of
it's
the
nowhere
S's.
near the power lines.
Wait, what?
This line right here.
No way. There's no way.
Well, if you look at the photos, it's exactly where the telephone poles are that we have.
Yeah, if you were looking at the photo on page 3 of the TRC report, it's right in line with that. The power lines might even be closer
Yeah.
to the road.
No, that is not accurate. I mean, page 5 of the TRC report, in the yellow, that shows the location of that power line that kind of cuts
Page
across.
5, which is that?
I mean, you could see it on the aerial. You can see the shadow of the line on the aerial.
Yeah, is that not the same spot as this line we're looking at on the map?
No, the line you're referring to, you're referring to.
You can.
Can I show that to him?
This line?
That's what, I was just looking at this, Mark.
Yeah.
I was just looking at this photo, and that's kind of lined up where the line is. And then, actually, I think that's closer to us, so you're probably right, that's not the line. But the power lines look.
I think the power lines might be closer to the curb.
No, it cannot. It will, if it cuts through there, then it would cross 27.
So where the transmission lines are closer to the roadway, I'm looking at it from the old approval on the car wash. But what's not shown is there's a service line that comes in. It's not shown on the plan that comes across.
Right. That's the one I was referring to, that I was in the original location that we wanted, which is where that black dot with the circle around it, that's the manhole cover. We were actually above that, close to the black line where the start of the sewer easement was about a foot. That transmission line looked to go over the top of where we originally wanted to do it, which is one of the reasons we wanted to get away from the manhole cover and that transmission line. I think we're far enough back. I think the transmission line would be in front of our sign. And we can, as a contingency, we can make sure that we verify that.
Before it's ever installed and permits are issued.
I just got to bring,
Okay, do we have any other board questions? And that, you said that completed your testimony, so we'll open to the public. Is there anyone who would like to ask a question or make a statement concerning the application? Come on up to the mic at the podium. We'll need your name, address, and have you sworn in.
Sure. My name is Bharat Patel at 55 Sinclair Boulevard. Do I need to be sworn in?
Swear me.
Yep. Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Just repeat your name and spell your last name.
Bharat Patel, Patel.
Thank you.
I'm not here to speak for it or against it. I just want to bring a couple of concerns. I think
Is the mic
Mr.
on? Excuse me.
Wait, sir, just
The
hold
mic
up,
on?
hold up 1 second. I have to check the mic.
I failed the test.
There you go. Nothing's going on there.
The light's on and the battery's there, but it doesn't seem to be very loud.
Can he talk into this? You,
Yeah,
okay?
if
Okay.
Is it wireless?
Thank you, Clint.
Oh, great. Like I said, I'm not here to speak for or against. I just want to bring a couple of concerns that I have in my mind. I think the member, Richard, he was right on it, on the site triangle. After the new striping has been done, most people trying to make a left on the left lane, because it's so far in, they go so far out, you can't see anybody. And especially when they had a couple of signs on those white posts I saw, it was really hard. Every time I've been in that area for 30 years. Lately, I can't make a left. What I do is I make a right, go on the North Brunswick, turn around, and come back. So somebody should look at the site triangle. And that's my first concern. The second one is, something happened in last 3-4 months. I have a picture, but I only have one copy. Somebody installed a solar panel with a camera on the opposite side of these. I have no idea whose is that.
Is that that's not on this property, though, right?
No, it's on the opposite side, but it's facing your site.
Competition.
No.
Is it still there? There's a picture. I haven't seen it.
I think you should give it to the board. I mean, I'm happy to look at it, but.
Yeah, we don't have any idea about that at all. I've never even seen that. I don't know if it's still there or not.
Sir, what's the importance of that?
To this application.
To this application, because of these new left turn lane moved in, I almost clipped that because it's only like 1 feet away from the curb, and the curb is so depressed, you can just jump right over. I almost clipped it in a snowstorm. That's why I want to bring it to your attention.
Thanks.
I have no idea whose is that. Does it belong to me, it looks like a solar panel is facing south, but the camera or anything that's facing the car wash. So I'm not sure if it's there or not. And like I said, I'm not here to speak for it or against it. The third one is we've been having a lot of people moving in the back. I don't know whether the traffic from the car wash, but they go into the single lane road inside, try to turn around. We had a tractor trailer got stuck in somebody's driveway. We had to get the tow truck out about 6 months ago. So there are some signs that says dead end, but they are so faded nobody can read it. I'm talking going further in the woods. And those are the only thing I have to say. Like I said, and one more thing, I think the sign, is there any way you can do some sort of conventional sign? This looks like it came out of a kids arcade or one of those. This.
To answer your question, this is where our industry.
You gotta find a mic to use.
Oh.
Yeah. And speak. You can speak to the board.
Yep. So to answer your question, this is not meant to be a boring sign that is used from 20 years ago. The industry's headed towards the car wash business model being something that families like to go to, is a entertaining place to be. It's meant to be fun. We have our tunnel filled with G&G lights that are colorful. Community loves going there. This falls in line with our branding, sir. We're called Wash King Car Wash. We have a lion with a crown over it. We have a water geyser to depict that, you know, it's a car wash. And we have a basic light box that says our name and that we offer unlimited car washes.
I'm just talking about the top character. Looks like it came out of some kids' arcade or what is that place on in Edison that kids go to have a fun.
I agree with you, and I anticipate when I drive past, my kids are going to ask to go through the car wash, and I think it's by design. Some of the other comments that this gentleman made that I do want to address. So you mentioned that the temporary sign that has been removed, it was blocking your view. It's gone. So that should not be an issue for you anymore. And the sign that's proposed here is set back further than those signs. And also at the eye line, the temporary sign, I think, was 3 feet or 4 feet? Wide. It was 4 feet wide. This is going to be 18 inches wide at that same elevation. So it'll be set further back. It'll be more narrow. It will not present the visual obstacle that other sign said. So your visibility is actually, it should be improved today. When you go back into that area today, you should have more visibility today. And this sign will not interfere with that. And as we mentioned previously, we would consent to a condition of approval that we confirm those site triangles before the sign is installed.
Well, that was the biggest technical impedance I had. And one last thing, and like I told you, I am not going to vouch for you. I'm not fighting with you. I'm just bringing what I think of them. But somebody made a comment that anywhere you place it, it will be useless. I don't think you can hide 20-foot sign just by moving it 5 foot left or right or up or down. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Then we'll close to the public. Anything you want to add?
The only thing I want to add is the depiction of the sign, the style of the sign, the way it looks, it's all by design. It's intended to capture the eye and draw your attention, especially for kids who are going to ask their parents, hey, I want to go through the car wash that has lights and it's fun. I know my kids love that. So in terms of the location, I understand the board's concerns in terms of the overhang of the sewer and the sight line. We consent to conditions of approval that we will square those away before any permits are issued or this is installed. And yes, we are seeking a hardship because if you put this site, and I understand the gentleman said, how are you going to hide a 20-foot sign? Well, we have a building that you'd have to put the sign essentially behind. So you wouldn't see it if it's behind the building. It wouldn't be functional. It wouldn't be useful. It would be a waste of investment, and the public would not know that this car wash is available, operating, and a fun place to bring your family.
And the car wash is down,
Yep.
too, off the road.
Yep.
Again, to the board, we've been operating 5.5 months with no form of identification of what we even are. We've made a substantial investment to bring this car wash to life to the community. We're willing to comply with the conditions of approvals if you guys would grant them to us. We're just requesting that we're able to locate it slightly out of where it was requested and, somewhere that it's not going to affect the community in any way, shape, or form.
Thank you. Nothing
Okay.
further.
Any comments, questions, or motion?
Mr. Chairman, maybe just a suggestion. I think, I don't anticipate that having a portion of the sign overhang into the sewer easements will be an objection, but I do agree it's a good idea to make sure we check with the sewer authority. I think similarly, we've heard testimony that they think that service line is 5 feet above. We don't know that's true. So I would think that we should have some type of feedback from PSE&G that the placement, I'm not so sure that this is not exactly where that service line is crossing the property and that it's not the same height. So I think they need, and PSE&G is the entity who services that line.
We would consent to that as well.
Well, see, but we don't want to give you something with things that you have to do later.
But I understand, and we are certain that those are not issues. And that's why we're confident that we won't be coming back to you.
That's great. See, I know you're speaking to me as a lawyer representing other people when you talk like that. I appreciate what you're saying, and I appreciate your confidence, but I do not share that. I think you need to get this tightened up before we're going to give you our approval. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everybody else feels good about this. I don't. I don't even really understand where this thing is going to go, and there's lines all over the place. I'm just uncomfortable with the level of finish on this application, but we'll take it to a vote if that's where you want to go.
And then my other suggestion, the TRC report did ask about, there was landscaping that was required to be put in as part of their approval. It's unclear if those trees are going to be removed, if they're going to be relocated, what have you. So that was a question of the TRC that hasn't been addressed.
I would say clearing what Mr. Shepherd just mentioned and Mr. Healy, and making sure somebody officially comments on the site triangle would all be a good idea to tie up ahead of time. And whatever landscaping issues that, again, that Mark mentioned, I'm not sure, I don't know, I'm not sure that you want to complete this yet. I think you should.
May I talk to my client one more time? Yeah, so, I mean, we're willing to replace the shrubs. I don't think that's the board's primary issue.
I think you should get clearance from the sewage authority that the overhang would not interfere with work they might have to do, the site triangle, and the public service issues. I don't think that that's asking, I mean, if you want, we can go forward and finish the hearing, bring it to a conclusion.
That is what my client is requesting.
That's what they want?
Yep.
Okay, any more discussion on the part of the board?
Yeah, I would just point out, I guess from my perspective with the electrical wire, I mean, that could potentially be a life safety issue. Should the wire arc to the sign?
We would not ever put a sign close to that. If it's, we would never do that.
No, of course, but you know what I'm saying.
I am
We-
100%.
yeah.
My business and my family mean too much to me to jeopardize my life, my crew's life, and my business and livelihood.
All right, after speaking with my client again, we are going to request to be carried to a date certain in the future, when we will present more testimony and evidence shoring up these issues.
I think it's been,
I'll get out there with our bucket truck, I'll measure the height of it.
I would also suggest you speak to the sewage authority before you come back.
Yep.
I think you got enough suggestions as to what information we're looking for. We have a date that we can,
John, if you want to talk to your client and professionals, the next available date I have is April 2nd.
Can you do April 2nd? Is April 2nd work for everybody?
We got too much. We got them, and then we put all these on there.
It's too much for now.
We got this little one.
Yeah.
I think
They're booked out.
I think
It's my birthday right there. Yeah,
We'll take it.
it's going to be 7/7.
Okay, so, hold on a minute. Wash King Somerset Opco LLC, docket number ZBA 25-00025. The sign variance request will be carried to April 2nd, 2026 at 7:30 PM here at 475 Demont Lane. No further notification will be needed for this.
okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Next is JC iOS Acquisitions, ZBA 25-00020, D1 use variance preliminary final major site plan with variances in which the applicant's applying to develop the site with an outdoor storage facility, 945 Route 27 Somerset, Block 88.01, Lot 7.01 in the B1 zone.
Hi, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Simone Cali, Cali Law LLC, on behalf of the applicant. As I'm sure you recall, we were here last month, I think it was January 8th, where we presented our proposal to expand the existing bus depot with our new to the township outdoor storage use. You heard from 4 witnesses. You heard about our operations. You saw our proposed site plan, and our site engineer took you through the proposal. You heard from our traffic engineer, who concluded there are no impacts with regard to traffic and circulation on site. And lastly, our cleanup hitter, you heard from our planner, who took you through the planning proofs and concluded that we do in fact meet the burden to obtain the D variance relief that we are seeking from this board. After we concluded our direct testimony, we heard from your board professionals who actually identified that there is a need for this use in the township, which was music to our ears, as you can imagine. They even further opined that this site was suitable and agreed with our planner. However, the board members had some concerns. Definitely Vice Chair had a few concerns, I recall. And some members asked for a revised site plan to better understand what our use would look like laid out on that plan. Another board member asked if there was any way we can reduce the impervious coverage, and I'm really happy to report that we did, and we revised that plan. And our intent tonight is to be brief, present our project engineer to show you our revised plan, explain it perhaps a little bit clearer now that you could see our proposal and the type of use on that plan. Literally, that visual might be a little bit more helpful to the board, and give you that great news that we were able to further reduce the impervious coverage. And that's really it from me for now. Council, it's the same project engineer from last meeting.
He was already sworn.
Previously sworn in, thank you. Mr. Chair, if I may?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Take
Wonderful.
it away. Would you like to?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board. I do have, it doesn't appear that this is compatible with my computer, but I do have a flash drive. If we could upload these exhibits somewhere.
Sure.
Yeah, or if you have an adapter.
What kind of
How many
computer do you
total
have that's not compatible?
exhibits is it going to be, Jeff? Is it 3 total?
It's 4 total.
It's 4?
Compatible?
The last 3 are almost
weird.
like one exhibit.
We were up to Exhibit A3 at the last meeting, Counselor.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it doesn't appear.
It's a dongle.
Is it the same exhibits that you emailed?
Yes.
Yes.
I can put those up.
Okay, great, thank you. So we'll wait for the first exhibit, but to begin, we heard several great questions from the members of the board, some comments, and we had revisited the site plan layout, prepared an exhibit. We didn't formally have the time to revise the site plan drawings and resubmit to the board, so we prepared a site plan exhibit rendering encompassing some modifications to the site layout. In addition, we do have 3 other exhibits which could quantify as really one exhibit, but for intents and purposes, it's basically 3 exhibits that show how different tenants would operate on the site with certain types of materials, building supplies, vehicles, landscaping equipment, items of that nature, how they would operate cohesively on the site if there were more than one tenant. So to begin, this exhibit that's shown here is entitled Site Plan Exhibit Rendering. It's prepared by my office, dated January 27th.
A4 for the record.
Yes, this will be Exhibit A4. Again, it's the colorized site plan that was submitted to the board. The beige area is the concrete pavement. The gray colors are the asphalt pavement areas or the gravel base, and the green is all the lawn or landscaping and existing trees that are on site. And you can see the aerial background with all the trees surrounding the property, so it's pretty well screened along the left top and right side of the site. And our objective was to provide better screening along the frontage where Route 27 is, at the bottom of the page. So the first change that we've made to the site plan layout is eliminated some of the storage area that's located closer to Route 27. If you will recall, there were a number of stalls striped just to the top of Route 27, closer to the roadway. We've eliminated that storage area, so we pulled the pavement back roughly 55 feet to provide an extra buffer screening area to provide a better visual impact from Route 27. So that's 55 feet of new lawn area that we've placed there. We've also eliminated some of the existing concrete on the very top end of the site. So with that, we did effectively reduce the impervious coverage down to 71.1%, which gets you closer to the conforming impervious coverage. Again, this is already in a non-conforming condition, whereas the existing site was at 78.6%. We've reduced it down from the initial submission to the last revision we presented at the last meeting. It was 74.5%, so we've taken it down even further to 71.1%. Over a 4-acre site, it's not a little bit of impervious. So, and the important part is that we pulled it away from Route 27, in my opinion, and provide some landscape screening along the frontage, so it's effectively screened from that corridor. Secondly, we heard some questions, concerns about site security. So what we show here, and it's hard to see on the screen right now, but on the left property line going up to the top of the page, we are proposing an 8-foot high fence that'll attach to the building, the left building, run along the left property line to the top and connect to an existing fence that's essentially at the pinch point at the top of the page. So that effectively provides better security, especially from the north and west. The rest of the site, again, it's especially to the left of the page, it's wetlands, heavily vegetated, and to the right you have the public works and other industrial uses, but you also have a fair amount of vegetation between those two uses as well. So I believe this provides a nice, secure site for the applicant to operate in the future. Next, you'll see the colors that we've denoted here. Again, this is just a visual representation, but we wanted to represent how multiple tenants could operate the site cohesively. So the green, the blue, and the red areas are where the applicant might have a different tenant operating in each of those areas. And you'll see in the next few exhibits, I'll show examples of the different types of materials and equipment that they'll store on site. So that'll make it nice and organized. Again, there's vehicular circulation is cohesive through the entire site. The vehicular drive aisles will be paved, and we'll work on that detail with Mr. Mazai as a condition of approval. The storage areas themselves, since the original proposal was to have also tractor trailer storage, now that we are not having tractor trailer storage on site whatsoever, our proposal is to keep those as that compacted gravel base, which I believe there's some concerns with the impervious surface. So with the storage of materials, equipment, supplies, I believe that compacted gravel base is a good use for that. And it's the same type of base that the applicant operates in, well over 100 of their sites throughout the country. And a few other minor changes. There was a comment about the water meter. We are installing a water meter. There'll be a fire service that will run from the Route 27 corridor with a hydrant into the site to provide fire suppression service. We are placing that water meter in the island between the two travel lanes so that there's some sort of protection from vehicular traffic coming into and out of the site. Before, it was placed more in the aisle where the water main was located, but we're shifting that underground meter vault so that it's out of vehicular lanes. And lastly, we were talking about a little bit of stormwater management, and I just want to reiterate, as a condition of approval, we'll work with Mr. Mazai to make sure that the conveyance system is adequately sized. We'll place additional inlets if needed, or oversized inlets to be able to handle the capacity for runoff that's tributary to that area, and we'll analyze that pipe that connects into that wetland area as well. That will conclude my testimony on this exhibit. If we could please move to the next three, which suppose we could mark as A5 through A8, or it could all be A5. They're however you prefer. I don't know. Or A5 through A7. Yeah.
Why don't we mark it A5 through A7?
Great. So these next three exhibits show different scenarios of equipment, vehicles, other items that could be stored on the site. And this could be it could be one tenant that could take the site, which is the preferred option, I think, from an operational perspective. But it could be split up, and it could be any one of these examples that we're showing here. So this first exhibit shows vehicles that are stored on site. I forget what the colors were, but essentially the orange vehicles there are buses, which was part of the prior approval. To the bottom of that, the blue vehicles are Sprinter vans, and to the left of that are pickup trucks. So, all vehicles that could maneuver the site effectively. Again, no tractor trailer storage in that area. The next exhibit we'll show here is for materials and supplies. There was a question actually about the landscaping and how it'd be contained, right? So what we're showing here on the top area is landscaping materials, so mulch, salt, items of that nature. And what the applicant will be doing, if that is who they indeed tenant, is having precast concrete boxes essentially, and they'll put the materials in there. And that way they have the ability to put tarp over it or something as well, in case you have a heavy wind. A tropical storm or whatever, anything over 50 miles an hour, it could end up blowing away. So I think that would be an effective solution for a landscaper that might want to tenant the site. Below that is, similar, it's insulation for housing. It's one of their tenants that they have. Again, it'll be, contained. Obviously, it's lightweight equipment. We want that contained so it doesn't blow away. And then to the left of that, in the middle, just right above the Family Dollar store, is rebar. So if contractor wanted to store their rebar material for construction, they would put it in that location. Again, it could be in any one of those three, but just as a visual representation to give the board some comfort on what tenants they might attract. The last exhibit here is essentially construction equipment, vehicles, lay down equipment. Here we're showing in those two areas to the right, essentially, just construction vehicles, if a contractor, like a contractor's yard. And then to the left of that, the green colors right above the Family Dollar are examples of air compressors or other types of uses similar to that fashion. So again, it could be a mix of these, could be one tenant that could, hopefully they would be able to lease to one tenant, but it could be a mix of any of those types of uses. So wanted to give the board some comfort. I know there's many questions, being it's an, I don't want to say unusual, but unrecognized use in many municipalities throughout New Jersey, and I believe this helps to clarify that from a visual perspective. But happy to answer any questions you might have on both the site plan changes that we've effectuated here and that we plan to effectuate as a condition of approval during residential compliance if we're granted approval here, and also answer any questions operationally too. The applicant's here tonight as well, if you have any questions for him. So appreciate your time.
I have some questions.
Yes.
When you start operating the facility, what happens? I come in and I want to store landscaping materials. Do you assign me a space? Are the tenants assigned spots? And if so, how are they delineated? And What I'm trying, I guess, to make sure of is it all doesn't become things just piled all over the place. I'd also like to see some kind of a plan where there's some type of vehicular access to all the different areas of the facility that's kept that way, so that if there would be some kind, I don't know what it would be, but if there were an emergency or a fire or something like that, you could function, or some responders could function and have circulation on the site. I want to be comfortable that you're not telling me you take this site and I pull my truck in and I just dump everything and then leave. That, each site or storage site has some sort of containment. I would want that as a tenant. I wouldn't want somebody next to me putting all their material where mine was. But how do you, I'm kind of, I guess, asking too, how it operates.
Sure. So to answer your first question, yes, when they and Johnny could step in, but they would lease tenants. Tenants would sign leases for the site. They would have specific areas that they could store materials. In terms of delineating those areas, one question I believe came up at the last meeting was that we would be working with the fire official to stripe a fire lane around all the vehicular drive aisles. So that's something that we do have to perfect as a condition of approval. So we'd have that yellow stripe, around the vehicular aisles, go around the storage areas so that there can be no storage whatsoever within areas that would be accessed by, fire apparatuses or just general vehicles that would come into the site to pick up their equipment. So in terms of delineating those three separate areas, we could work out some type of, the goal is to have one tenant, right? But if you do have the case where you have two tenants or even three tenants, the applicant would be in charge of making sure that it's operable. And to be frank, their tenants wouldn't be happy if, they had one tenant bleeding over onto their specific storage area that they're assigned. They want to keep their tenants happy, right? So that's an operations. That's an operational, component of their lease agreements.
Would this facility be building storage racks?
Storage racks.
I've observed one that's got, it almost looks like a warehouse facility, but it's outdoors, where you have these steel shelving stacks and things are piled on it, which brings up another question I have about the height of how high can the mulch pile get and the stack of bricks or cement blocks?
Sure. I know there was really great questions and discussion on the height, how high items can be stacked. So I'll let the applicant answer some of the operational questions. I believe he's more attuned for that.
And Mr. Chairman, he was previously sworn in at the last meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just to answer some of the operational concerns, so from a leasing standpoint, if we go the multi-tenant route, how we do this across the country, across a bunch of the different sites that we own, each tenant has a lease agreement where it specifies exactly what those premises are. So if somebody has the building, how much square feet, for the yard, how much acreage typically, or land square feet. And then at the end of that lease agreement, you have an exhibit that outlines exactly where that tenant is going to operate, similar to the site plan, how we demarked it in green, blue, and red. And to answer your concerns about the circulation, with the striping in the middle of the site, that gives you some your natural progressions when it comes to the vehicles coming in, whether it's fire or safety. But as you can see in each one of these exhibits on the north side, we have a kind of a transfer station, if you will, where I know we talked about in the last hearing, there's going to be no idling of vehicles. And let's say there is a situation on site where, emergency vehicle needs to come on and somebody's dropping off materials, they can maneuver north to the site, park there temporarily, and then whoever's responding can go and handle the situation at hand. And then you can even see, like, for the equipment, there's aisles within each tenant premises where you can maneuver and go in and address a situation if it were to arise. And then to answer the question on racking, that is not what we're proposing. There are sites nationally where you'll have a open canopy and some racking. That's not something that we're proposing for this business plan. And if a tenant were to come when we're going through the final site plan approval to be able to get a certificate of occupancy, we would present that, but that's not what we're intending for the site.
And how about general height of materials?
Yeah, so
Putting up an 8-foot fence, you said, right?
yeah, I think in the last hearing, we said it was going to be a maximum of 8 feet. And just to, I don't know if we can go back to the material supplies. I just want to address, I know there was concerns about flyaway of materials. That's not going to happen with these materials. The only flyaway really is if you have leaves on site just because of the weight. But yeah, what we're proposing with mulch or salt, that it's contained in these precast concrete, you can call them cubbies. Everything's going to be consolidated in there. And yeah, unless you have, call it a tornado, those aren't going to be going off site.
Okay, any other questions?
Just for the record, sir, what's your name again?
I'm John Gribb.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
I said, well, my question would be more for the engineer, if we were ready. So, Mark, can you go back to the first exhibit, before I photo areas? So, what is the intended finished material for the red, blue, and green areas? Is it gonna be asphalt or gravel?
The intended material is the compacted gravel.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, have you done, I know this came up at the last hearing, have you taken an analysis of your limited disturbance to see what the project limit is?
I'm sorry, what our final limited disturbance would be?
Yeah, for the project, I know one of the board members had that question of where you'd be over an acre, under an acre, over an acre. So I know that's something we had mentioned on the call.
Yes.
So I'm assuming the gravel is gonna stay in place. as
Yes.
we discussed. So have you done any calculation for that yet? or no?
It's the asphalt pavement itself, where we're proposing to pave would be under an acre. So there's other, landscaped areas, gravel, which, such as removing the stockpiles, but they're not really truly considered limited disturbance because you're not disturbing the underlying soil. And we'll represent that in a package when we submit it for resolution compliance. But yeah, the actual paved area would be under an acre.
Okay, and since now that there's that blue area that's right before the basin area,
Mhm.
we talked about potentially a filter strip.
Yes.
5 foot, so I don't know if you want to touch on that, because we don't want to have any stone or debris end up back into those wetlands and basins.
Yeah, that's a great reminder and a great comment there. So naturally, we're grading the site to drain towards the inlet infrastructure so that it drains properly in an underground stormwater pipe into that low-lying wetland area. But the event that you don't want any materials that come over from the storage areas come into the wetland areas, so we're proposing to have some kind of a blockade, if you will, or I forget, Mr. Mazai, we were speaking to.
It was more, we were discussing more of a riprap filter.
Yeah, like a riprap.
5 foot wide.
Yes.
That we maintain and cleaned out over time.
Yes, yeah, like a 5 foot, so essentially stones that we'll place in like a 5 foot wide section along at the bottom of the blue area, in case there is some runoff that comes off there or any other materials that could be captured in there and maintained and cleaned, really in perpetuity as long as they operate. So we'll be happy to solidify that on the site plan as a condition of approval.
And my last comment would be just depending on where the board goes, where you show the meter pit, the water department's not gonna accept in the middle of the driveway like that, but I just asked that to be a condition of approval if it were to go this route, that they work with the water department on final location.
Yes, absolutely, we will. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other witnesses?
No other witnesses, Mr. Chairman.
Well, open to the public. Is there anyone who'd like to ask any questions or make any statements? All right, then we'll close. You want to summarize?
Yes, please, I'll be brief. Mr. Chairman and board members, we appreciate all of your comments from the last meeting. A thank you to the board professionals who have worked with us hand in hand from pre-application, really, as recently as last week, calls with our professionals to get here tonight. There is a clear need for this use in the township, as confirmed by your longtime board consultants, and this site is particularly well-suited for it. The impacts are known, they're not speculative, and if approved, our proposal will bring the property into better alignment where the prior owner fell short with their build-out for that prior approval of the bus depot. The applicant is a well-established national operator with a strong track record of successfully running these type of facilities that is identical to that which is proposed in your township. And they look forward to becoming a responsible and contributing member of your community. And with that, we would respectfully request that you act favorably on our application. And thank you very much.
I now have a question. Is this facility going to be open 24 hours?
Yes. Well, there'll be material stored there 24 hours.
But what I'm asking is, are trucks or people going to be on site 24 hours? And the funny part about it is we talk about mulch, but there's probably going to be some fairly expensive equipment and maybe some materials of significant value that are going to be stored here. And we have a good fence up, but the question that I have is there a lock on the front door? How does that all work?
So to answer the first question, we testified that this will be 24/7 operations, but as you can imagine, most of the operations are going to be going during the prime business hours, and not early in the morning, late at night. And then from a security standpoint, we're still putting in the 8-foot high gate, and that will have a padlock on it.
And so there will be a time during a 24-hour period that it's closed, that there's no one there?
I would imagine if the tenant doesn't want people going on the site and taking their equipment, that they would lock when they leave.
Well, what happens? Oh, okay. So there's no gatekeeper. It's just people who have rented there get a key to get, or they don't use keys anymore. They have cards now to get in and out, right?
Correct. So we're not proposing to have a security staff on site. But I would say we do have security cameras that we put on the site, and at night it has a light as well, so it floods and it illuminates the yard to a degree. But so there's extra security precautions for the tenant.
Did we touch on any need for lighting and what that might be?
We are installing light poles along the perimeter of the site, and it's in compliance with the municipal code. I don't recall if I touched on that in my direct. I know there were questions asked intermittently, and it might have been flashed over, but there are LED lights that are proposed along the perimeter of the site to effectively provide, especially during your winter hours when they still might be operable at 4:30, 5 o'clock at night, and they need to have proper lighting for vehicular traffic. So,
All right. Any other questions?
Yes, just one question, Mr. Chairman. Just to make it clear, and if this was addressed at the last meeting, I apologize. These spaces in the back here, what is that again?
Sure. So that's Mr. Gribb was touching on it a little bit, but to clarify, it's more like a transient. Almost if a vehicle came in to unload and load their materials, we don't want them sitting idle in any vehicle, in any actual traveled ways. So we are going to stripe those out specifically so that a vehicle can park there, turn their car off while they're unloading materials onto their storage yards. So.
And then the only other, reminder for the board, I'll say, depending on if the board was inclined to approve it, we discussed it the last time, every time there's a new commercial tenant, it has to get reviewed by staff. So, certainly as tenants come and go on this site, staff is going to want to look at the plan. They'll have to submit for a zoning permit for a change of tenant, and we'll have to see what they're proposing. What type of use? Is it a landscaper versus truck storage, whatever? And we're going to see how that basically manifests on this plan, showing that they're, maintaining those fire lanes, and if it's going to be something like mulch or leaves or something like that, that they're properly containing it. And they'll have to address that, over the years as the tenants come and go. Again, that's assuming if the board was to approve it.
Okay, anything else?
I'm going to do a resolution, but I have to say that I want everybody to listen to what I say, because I expect that there'll be some additional things that go on here. I also am a little bit troubled by the idea that they just testified that they're here to get a final site plan, but they didn't really have the chance to prepare one yet. How does that all work?
We did prepare a site plan package. In my professional opinion, we made some minor changes to the site plan layout to reduce impervious coverage, which I think is beneficial in proposing a new fence along the property line. And during the course of proceedings, we're allowed to present an exhibit showing those changes. And then we have to perfect that and submit it to the engineer, to the board planner, and they have to sign off on anything that we agree to at this meeting before they can pull any building permits or anything of that nature. So,
well, that's why I'm glad our engineer is here.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
All right. I move that we, I haven't even got the name of this thing. Oh, don't have anything. There we go. I move that we grant JCIOS Acquisitions LLC the following variances and also requirements to allow them to build and operate a materials storage facility on Route 27, Block 8801, Lot 701. The variance will construct an 8-foot high fence on the left side of the property. They will work with the fire department to establish traffic lanes with unremovable striping. The goods that will be stored on the facility will be no higher than 8 feet tall, and everything will be, if there is any potential for disbursement, inadvertent disbursement, such as with mulch or other light materials, everything will be contained in storage containers. There will be no idling of vehicles on the site. There will be no racking used on the facility. There will be floodlights that will comply with township requirements, including brightness and location. There will be no tractor trailers stored on the facility. Once the business is, once the facility is constructed, the township construction and zoning officers will tour the facility to make sure all of these things have been accomplished. And after a tenant when a tenant leaves the facility, the applicant will be required to submit a new application for a new tenant, and the zoning board will again have the opportunity to inspect the facility before the new tenant is allowed to proceed. The zoning office will also have the right to contact the owner to make an appointment to inspect the facility at a time convenient for the town. That's everything that I have, but I feel like it's not entirely complete.
That was pretty complete. That hit all my notes. The one question I had is I think you had mentioned that when there's a new tenant, I think you said they would have to come back before the zoning board for a new tenant. Is
Yeah.
that what you implied? or-
No, that's not what I wanted. I
Okay.
want them to, they just have to apply for whatever kind of a license from the
The process
construction
that I had described a few minutes ago, where they have to go through the change of tenant and
Exactly.
have.
That's why I'm wanting
And-
everybody listening.
Okay, gotcha. So then, yeah, they'll have, and that'll get, what the process would be in that scenario, frankly, is our technical review committee, which is engineering and fire prevention and all the different departments that frankly do reports that go to you, we meet every single Tuesday morning. So if there was a new tenant and they had a plan for a new tenant, we would present that to the full TRC and then make sure all the different departments are okay. So, just wanted to clarify that, but otherwise, I don't know, Brian, if you have any other additional notes, but he had every single note I had.
You covered it pretty comprehensively.
Any board members have any other additions? You look like you're coming up with something. Okay, then that's the motion. We need a second.
I'll second.
Cheryl Bethia?
I'm going to vote yes. I'm going to also say that I wasn't here for the initial testimony, but I did certify that. But what I heard today in addressing the issues that were raised by the board, and as well as the stipulations that we now are putting in place, I think it's a good application. And so I vote yes.
Okay, thank you. Richard Prokanic?
Yes.
Alan Rich?
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal?
I was here for the initial, and I really believe that you've answered a lot of the concerns that I had. I only want to indicate to you that if there's anything flammable that should come into this property, to please take a note of that. And then I'll vote yes.
Robert Shepard?
Yes.
Michael Doherty?
Yes.
Chairman Thomas?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions about anything? We need a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
A second.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.